your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, I You to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
What do you get when you take a whole bunch of trophy whores and a week off in episode 670?
A
Any
mid-tier
takers?
podcast.
Mid-tier podcast. Tricky, you want to give it a try?
I have no idea.
Trophy Wars episode 670. Glad you all are paying attention. Welcome, everybody.
I was going to guess the most popular PlayStation podcast in Madagascar, but that also would have been wrong.
Yeah, according to the marquee, it's the East Coast.
Hey, the one Tricky's the one who says that. The rest of us aren't advertising that.
Well, we used to be, but then Colin decided to move to Richmond, Virginia. So
that happens. But we are still here. We are still celebrating episode 670. How many podcasts can say that they've reached episode 670? Don't answer that question because I'm sure there's plenty. However, we are still one of them. And with us tonight, you heard them. You, Tricky and Alex are here. Yield is on assignment in Madagascar trying to drum up some attention for the podcast. So he won't be with us tonight.
Those big signs that they make people wear outside pizza joints or they make them hold up, that's what he's doing on a street corner in Madagascar is he's just got a trophy horse held above his head with the...
We tried getting to do the sign that he flips and twirls. He's not able to do that for some reason.
he wasn't coordinated enough.
Tricky, sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better. Recovering from my neck surgery quite nicely. I was able to get the stitches out in a week. So I actually would have been available to record last week, but everybody else had other plans. So I was like, all right, well, I planned for 2 weeks off, so I guess I'm taking 2 weeks off anyway. Been playing a lot of video games. Really got really into one. We didn't put it in the agenda, but we got finally got confirmation on the DLC for Division 2, so I'm excited for that. And it's a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. $15 for a DLC, not a bad price.
Okay, well, we can circle back to that once we hit the news if there was anything specific you wanted to talk about. But Alex, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. On the up and up. I think that for the first time in a long time, Tricky and I might be playing the same game at the same time, or maybe Tricky just dipped his toes in the water and then stopped playing. But I've been playing a new game recently, and I saw on PlayStation Network that Tricky has been playing that same game, or at least tried it.
Okay.
No, I just started it for the PlayStation Stars program.
Gotcha. The PSN app rewards.
Yes.
Because PlayStation Stars is gone, right?
No.
There's no calling Stars on the app?
I thought they were getting rid of like the rewards thing, not Star specifically.
They got rid of Sony rewards. The Sony rewards. PlayStation Stars is still going.
Oh, I forgot. That's a first-person game, so Tricky, you wouldn't like it as much.
No. Although I do want to play it, just because it's first person, I can't do it. But from what I hear, it's pretty much on rails, so it's not like you're really walking around.
That's not true.
Okay. Well, then you just killed any hope of me ever playing that game.
Well, no, maybe once we get into what we've been playing, I can get your definition of on rails, but there are definitely moments where you are like exploring, walking around downtown of Detroit, or a small sectioned off area of Detroit.
It is when you're in combat. Are you on a fixed location or are you walking around?
You're walking around. You're dodging. You're hiding behind stuff.
Okay, then no.
Who the fuck told you that game is on rails?
I don't know. I think I saw some kind of like passing comment or something.
Oh, well, that's why you don't believe what you see on the internet.
I thought I had heard it was on rails, so he might have heard that from me.
That's possible too.
Son of a bitch.
Ruining things like I do everything that I touch.
It's fine. To be fair, I never watched the movies, so I'm not like a true fan.
You never watched any of the movies?
No. I mean, I've seen the clip of Alex Murphy getting shot up. Well, spoiler. But I've seen that.
I mean, that's a hell of a spoiler since he's the one who becomes RoboCop.
He dies in the first fucking part
That's what
of
I'm
the
saying.
first RoboCop movie.
I'm saying, you say the spoiler word, like, that's a hell of a spoiler.
That's like the 80s, man. That was 30 years ago.
You know what? I'd buy that for $1.
Bitches leave. Anyways, yes, it's good to have Tricky back. And, I'm glad you're feeling better and can contribute to the show again. It's been lonely without you for a little.
Yeah, I wish I could believe that.
We held it up with glue and popsicle sticks.
So we always use, Matt. Except maybe we ran out of duct tape and Tricky couldn't run to the bodega to get us more.
Jurassic Parky's in the chat, by the way.
Hey, Jurassic Parky, how are you doing? Welcome to the show tonight. As is usual, we will move on to discuss one thing that we have here, trophies. Your updated trophy counts, gentlemen?
Hold on. I got so many pages open. I gotta find it. I am level 966, total trophies of 34,368 with 995 platinums. Trying to contemplate what I want to be 1,000. I'm tied between a couple games right now.
We ain't there yet, my man. You still got four more games before you're in that spot where you got to pick what the 1,000 is going to be.
Well, I got a month to do it because I gotta get the bonus trophies every week, so that's a plat. Unless I just stop getting plats and soul.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, does it really count? Like, as far as unique games go, like, does it really count when you've got like 12 versions of the jumping brownie just from different regions? Like, that's all the same game. So it's not really your 1,000th game.
It's my 1,000th plat.
No.
I'm not saying it's my 1,000th game. I'm saying it's my 1,000th plat.
All right.
Yeah. So right now I'm trying to figure out. I kind of want it to be Shadows, but I also kind of want it to be Days Gone as well.
But are you going to actually work for it? Or are you just going to pop trophies and have that be your 1,000th?
Oh no, I'm working for it. I looked before. I am. I know we're not there yet. Approaching 80, 85 hours in Shadows right now. And most people say you can get the plat in 40 to 50 hours, so I'm taking my time with it.
Well, that's some bullshit because like I said before, with Assassin's Creed Rogue, trophy estimates for that were like 30 hours, and then I ended up playing like 70. So the Assassin's Creed games is always more than they say it is, unless it's, like Valhalla, which I'm sure they say like, hey, you're going to spend 100 plus hours on this fucking game.
Oh, wait, I apologize. According to Power PYX, it says approximate time to platinum is 50 to 75 hours. And I trust I trust Power PYX more than I trust any other site.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, Alex, your updated trophies?
Yes. All right. I am level 520, total trophy count of 10,593, and a platinum count of 192 in 191 games. That is another platinum trophy for me. Not in, the Alex Murphy, I'm a robot simulator, but the another game that I played that I can talk about.
All right. Yield is level 528 with 11,076 trophies, 210 plats. I am level 222 with 1,337 trophies and still 0 plats. And I am debating just, smashing my PlayStation so I never have to leave that number again.
When I was updating the trophies, I said, he's never going to earn another trophy.
Well, then what's the point of ever buying it? Are you not going to, is this going to be the last PlayStation you ever buy?
I don't know. That's a great question.
You could just start a new profile, Matt.
I could.
But then he'd be back to 0.
Yeah, but I'd still have this profile that I could screen cap. I'll just screen cap. Anyways, I don't know, because I don't even know if there's any PlayStation games coming out that I'm like, I need to have on that system.
Well, I'm sure there'll be another Spider-Man game, Matt.
At what point? And maybe at that point, I'll just wait for it to come on the PC.
Do you really want to wait and rest your laurels on the PC version being good?
Especially if they come out with a Venom game. He's buying that day one.
Called me out, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Or if they come out with a Lego, a real life Lego simulator.
No, they actually have a game on Meta Quest. It's a adaptation. It's called Lego Brick Tales. It was on the consoles, but it's now in the VR, where when you have to build like a solution to something, it brings up a virtual table and you have to literally put the pieces together. It's actually a lot of fun. Anyways, Sid is level 893, 27,337 trophies, and 851 platinums. And speaking of trophies, Tricky, do we have a trophy rarity contest update?
We do, but before we get into that, I kind of got to be mean for a second because somebody just entered our chat.
Mr. TMNT84, welcome to the chat. I will give Tricky exactly 5 seconds to be mean.
Devils suck.
Well,
What happened?
good to know.
Did the Devils get eliminated?
Not yet, but they were down 3-2 at the start of the second period today, and then it lost 5-2.
I mean, like I said, we'll be joining you on the golf course shortly.
At least they made it to the dance.
I mean, yes, but I mean, can you really brag about that when the end result is 4 games later, 5 games later, you're right behind them?
Really, the Rangers got faster to the offseason where they can get rid of all their good players, trade away all their good players, and overpay their goalie way too much.
Well, no. Igor's worth every freaking dollar they ever gave that man.
Okay, well, they're not in the playoffs, so
yeah. That being said, I'm stalling a little bit because I'm trying to bring up the.
Hey Joe, I saw your comment of Bricktails being awesome. You play that with the kiddo at all? I definitely know it's something kids are enjoying. They like that game a lot. My brother had played it with his daughter at one point.
So while Joe's here, that reminds me, Ninja Turtles. There is an event going on in Rocket League, a crossover Ninja Turtles, and I was super excited. I was like, okay, I might pop in and play some Rocket League for the first time in a few months. And I go in, and the best rewards are behind a paywall, and it's not even like you can buy them piece by piece. You have to buy an entire $25 bundle to get them all. Which, the cool things is like the Ninja Turtle van. You can place a Ninja Turtle van in the game in Rocket League, which would be pretty cool, but I'm not paying $25 for that. And the free rewards are like banners. There's a few things, but the free rewards suck. Psyonix and Epic have destroyed that game because the holiday extravaganzas, the winter one, the Halloween one, they both sucked. So all the events now just suck, no matter how good the crossover is. And I'm fuck Rocket League.
Well, if you are going to spend
fucking sphincter,
if you are going to spend money on Rocket League, make sure you use the Epic Creator Code Proving Gamer.
No, don't even open Rocket League. It's not worth it. Fuck them. Fuck that.
Why are you stepping on promo for us?
Because they managed to ruin a Turtles crossover for me. Psyonix, you greedy fucks.
Jurassic Parky says the Rangers have much bigger problems than missing the playoffs. They're absolutely right. I can't believe they re-signed Dolan to another freaking extension. That man needs to go.
Is that their coach?
The general manager.
No.
Which halfway through the season, they were saying he should have been fired, and somehow they gave him an extension.
Well, hey, they're saving you all a bunch of money by getting rid of all your best players.
Let's go to our trophy rarity update coming from Garrett, who's freshly back from his holiday. Marky Frazier now leads Division I with 1,474 points after scoring 368 points since the last the update on the 6th of April. Pee Wee Cosley follows second with 1,451, with Rick in third at 1,242. Frazier was the top scorer across both divisions for the period. Yield scored 68 points and stays in 6th place with 766 points. Tricky and Alex both scored 33, but Tricky stayed in 13th at 277 points. But Alex, you dropped to 15th with 264. Daryl has leapfrogged you and now draws level with me at 277 in 14th place. Big Bernard, I always say this name wrong. Big Bernard Ab. I want to say Bernardo, but maybe it's a typo. Is in 16th with 191. Division 2 sees the top 3 remain where they were. Doc Chicken leads the way with 1,776 points. Hey, that's a good number right there. Psychiatrist is second with 1,059, and CJ is in third with 1,025. The biggest score in Division 2 was Dupes with 353 after earning 22 additional ultra-rare trophies from Oblivion on the PlayStation 5, including the Plat. The rarest trophies of the week go to Psychiatrist in Cloudberry Kingdom at 3.31%. Diego for the plat in Red Dead Redemption 2. Dodge Williams for the plat in Tropical 5 at 1.99%. And Marky Frazier at 0.88 in Dance Star Digital in second. And Dupes 21 for the Platinum Oblivion at 0.81%, although this should increase in the upcoming weeks and days. So a lot of those points that Dupes got are probably going to decay a lot in the next couple of weeks and days. Plat shoutouts, there's quite a few of them. Pee-wee for Ember, Cult of the Lamb, 1111 Memories Retold, and Double Stack of Whiskey and Zombies. Rick with Help Will Come Tomorrow, South Park Stick of Truth, and The Banner Saga 2. Diego with Sleeping Dogs, Crisis 3 Remastered, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Yield with The Shadow of Tomb Raider. Me Goats a Lot with Assassin's Creed Shadows. California Wayne with Astro's Playroom. Alex with The War of the Monsters and Subnautica. Big Bernardo with The Crew 2. I thought that game was offline. Or is that just The Crew?
The Crew. The Crew 2, there was some news recently about that getting offline mode, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay. Dark Knight with Subnautica, his first platinum of the year. Dupes with Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Dodge Williams with Tropical 5. CJ with EA PGA Tour 2K25. And Psychiatrist with Shing. Vampire Survivors Cosmic Top Secret. The Full Part 2 Unbound. Big Adventure Trip to Europe 5. And that is your update.
Damn, Tricky, you stole one of my shoutouts.
What was the shout out?
Darth Knight 82 for getting the Subnautica Platinum Trophy, because Darth Knight had messaged me on PlayStation Network and said that they had pretty much agreed with a lot of, we were pretty much lock and step with a lot of stuff about the game. Basically how, they don't tell you much at the beginning, how Darth Knight really liked the base building too. So, like I said, kind of lock and step, but I said I was going to give Darth a shout out on the show, just, because we had achieved the same thing. So,
well, don't blame me, blame Gareth.
I can't blame Gareth for anything. He's too nice.
And just one final fuck you to Joe, who said the Rangers are almost as boring as Division 2.
Actually, just uninstalled the Division 2 on my computer because I wasn't playing it.
You were supposed to come play with me.
I was supposed to, but we never hooked up like that. I blame you more than me.
Blame me? How you blaming me?
See, here's the thing, Matt. I'm sure, did you ever get an invite to a game with Tricky that he said he never sent?
Hello, Zombie Cupcake.
Did he ever invite you to a multiplayer game? He's like, hey, come play with me. And then he's like, I didn't do that.
Oh, you still on this about the freaking Helldivers?
Because you complained so much that I never am willing to play with you. But this one time when I dropped up another game to play with you, you're like, yeah, nah, fuck you. I didn't want to play with you.
I gotta admit, I did that on purpose. I told everybody in the chat, I did that on purpose.
Oh, so you did invite me
on
purpose?
Yeah, absolutely.
You son of a bitch.
I did that shit on purpose.
Am I still showing up as like Captain Ender Phoenix on your...
No, you never were. That's another player.
Damn straight.
I was just wrong. Because I saw your name and that other name on like the same screen. I'm like, oh, Matt was telling the truth. Not that I didn't believe you, but...
He was saying you're lying.
You were heavily implying that I was not telling the truth.
Well, how many other people have that name with the same fucking spelling? Like, I have every right to be confused in that situation.
It's why I've started saying NDRFNX for most of my names, because I've seen Ender Phoenix out there before. I don't know.
Because people are unoriginal, uncreative.
But we can start talking about the games we were playing, because that, Helldivers 2 was one of the games that was involved this week. But Alex, what about you?
Yeah, I went on a little binge of Helldivers recently. Not in recent days, but...
And not inviting me.
You and I played one game, and then
one
you went
game.
off to bed because you were tired. You said you had to go off to bed.
No, you said you had to go off to bed.
Oh, please. You were recovering from your surgery, and you also said you had to go to bed. But
played one game. We didn't get any samples because, Alex is just greedy.
Bullshit. We got samples, and we got 50 super credits, which is a pretty nice round, if you ask me.
Well, nobody asked you. Nobody asked you, sir.
All right.
Was it a nice round, Alex?
Matt, I think it's
really, Matt.
50.
Really?
I'm grateful sometimes if I get 10 or 20. 50, though, I'll take that every time.
Wow. I can't believe you guys.
I think you half
This is how I'm treated when I come back after,
What do you mean?
life-altering surgeries.
Talking about hell divers, I'm a half-mast. Anyways.
On that note, I'm going to smoke a cigarette. You guys have fun. I'll be back in a minute.
So yeah, just all the divers, doing the latest war bond, collected some super credits. But really, the predominant amount of my time in the last couple of weeks has been spent on. And this first one is going to be a bit of a fucking rant. So what I thought was going to happen with War of the Monsters, and then re-releasing it a PS5 version on the PlayStation Network, the Classics Collection. Well, it happened. They basically, it's the same fucking game, except what they changed was they added a new trophy list and give it a platinum. So naturally, me growing up with that game, I just saw it for it. I have the PS4 version 100%, but there was no platinum trophy. So I went and got the platinum trophy because you can do it in like 2 evenings or really just one night if you sit down and stick to it. It can be done in under 5 hours. It's not a long game. Basically, there's a lot of like story-related trophies. You play through the main campaign, which is like 10 or so levels. Not hard to do. And then you get some random combat-related trophies, a few trophies related to the mini games, and you're good to go. So this to me is really dirty pool, as Gomez Adams would say, because Sony released this game in 2023 to the Classics Collection, the PS4 version, and they're just now re-releasing it, a PS5, PS4 version with a platinum trophy, and they're calling it like, oh, this is a new release. No, you're just re-releasing games you've already released with a platinum trophy. Now, do I appreciate the platinum trophy with a game that I grew up with? Absolutely. Am I still annoyed that this is considered a game that people, are paying for access to, paying for PlayStation Plus, the top tier, and you've now released this game twice in the last 2 years, and it's just all because of different trophy lists? Do I think that's annoying and kind of shitty? Absolutely. I was actually looking at the Extras catalog recently, and Dave the Diver jumped up to the top. Are they considering Dave the Diver a re-release, or is it just because the DLC's out or coming out? I'm not sure, but Dave the Diver, obviously I played that. Was it last year? I think yes, last year because I played it after Helldivers. But just they're putting all these older games they've already released up to the top of the list, and it makes me wonder what the hell Sony's doing. But yeah, releasing the same game 2 times in 2 years under a Classics Collection when you have so many catalog games you could put on there, and acting like that's a brand new game, it's kind of bullshit, but Sony's going to do what Sony's going to do.
We need Yield here to talk about high-quality games.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, here's the thing. War of the Monsters, the combat system, I mean, it was made in the early 2000s. It was not particularly like a deep combat system. The game's pretty shallow. There's not a lot to do in there. Honestly, like I've said before, if you're going to play a monster fighting game, make a Gigabash. I mean, there's other options, but growing up with War of the Monsters, I do have some affinity for that game. The presentation in that game is amazing. It's like a 1950s monster movie, so it's like a drive-in theater, and like the monster selection screen is like the drive-in screen, and like there's like a little like there's 3 mini games in the game which you're only going to play for trophies. They're not really that fun, but there's this little arcade screen you go to that's next to the concession stand, and like the concession stand where you would buy food normally, that is like the options menu. And then your save data, like where you can pick which game between your manual saves and which one you want to load, that's like in the film room with like the film reels and like the big like metal circular things, the big metal cans, where you would just like pick out a movie to put on the reel and it would show on the projector, or you put it on the projector and it would start showing on the screen. Like everything about this, the menus are all different and different aspects of a movie drive-in theater, and it's so fucking cool. I love it. The monsters, you've got your King Kong variant, you've got your Godzilla variant, but there's a few really unique ones in there, and like the battlefields, like they're overall pretty fun. They've got some nice secrets in it. One of the trophies in the game is you have to, in the Gambler's Gulch level, you have to wield a sword. Basically, you have to destroy a certain hotel, and once you get to the hotel, there's like a sword and stone, kind of like the old Disney movie, and you basically have to bust it out of the stone, and you can use that to battle your enemy. Like there's just some really cool things. Like some of the trophies, like I said, the random ones. In the original game, they had environmental like attacks. So you could start a volcanic eruption in one of the places. You could start a tsunami in another map. You could start in the Baytown map. You could start an earthquake. by doing just a certain amount of damage. So this game was also made by Incog, which were the Twisted Metal Black people. And if you remember, Twisted Metal Black, like they had in the junkyard level, you could shoot down a plane that was flying around the background, and that would crash in the level and open up a secret area where you could access one of the secret cars, Yellow Jacket. So like the environmental stuff kind of carried over via this team from Twisted Metal Black to War of the Monsters, and there was just some really cool things you could do. And there's a trophy for starting the volcanic eruption in Club Caldera. I do like that there were new trophies. I do like there's a platinum trophy, but this game, I really want to like this game more than you really can, because like I said, the whole game is pretty shallow, but the presentation is incredible. So you've got like half of a really great game and the other half just kind of drags it down. It's a good play for nostalgia, but again, if you're looking for a game with big monsters, just play Giga Bash. It's a better game overall. But yeah, Sony, don't stop releasing games over and over again with new trophy lists. That's not what people pay for PlayStation Plus for. And the other game I've been playing, as you may have guessed, was RoboCop Rogue City, which is free on PlayStation Plus for this month. Go ahead and add it to your all's catalogs. First-person shooter featuring RoboCop. I've never seen any of the movies outside of maybe some small portions of the first movie. Obviously, love Red Foreman, Kurtwood Smith, so him being kind of the villain in the first movie is always gives me a little tickle. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying the game so far. There are some technical glitches with it, like in cutscenes, like characters will be talking in dialogue and they will shift positions on the screen. And you may have to see it to get what I'm talking about, but they'll just kind of it's almost like they're Quicksilver and they've moved really quickly. Like they'll just shift positions on the screen, and just like little visual flaws with the cutscenes that kind of okay, yeah, I don't know what kind of budget you all had, but clearly you all just kind of left some stuff in there. But some of the in-game models like RoboCop looks really fucking good in the cutscenes. Of course, this is a first-person shooter, so you never see RoboCop third person when you're actually playing the game. But I mean, overall, so far, I'm even not being a huge RoboCop fan, someone who grew up with the series, I'm having fun with the game because I mean the shoot 'em gameplay, the first person shooter gameplay is fun, and yeah, you can. It's very, very mission based. You've got a main storyline you go through, but then also within each area, there's you're walking around the police station and there's little side quests to do in there. None of them are really that deep or important, but they give you something else to do. There's little side quests, and I'm not super far into the game. I've only gotten 2 of the story related trophies, but they plop you right down in a section of Detroit and downtown area. It's like a little sandbox you get to walk around in. There's different like I said, there's a main story that you'll go through, but there's also, as you go through the level and explore more, there's different side missions you can complete for extra experience, which you can use to upgrade different things of RoboCop skills. So I mean, a nice mixture of some kind of RPG elements with the first-person shooter action gameplay. I don't know. Overall, it's a fun game, and yeah, it's on PlayStation Plus, so might as well give it a try if you at all like RoboCop or just a fun first-person shooter. I really don't think you need to like RoboCop to like this game. Overall, though, it seems like a pretty easy platinum trophy. So if you want a game that's fun, that'll give you a nice, easy platinum trophy, go ahead and pick RoboCop. It's overall, I'm enjoying my time with it. So
I've seen it a ton of times on sale on Steam for $10, and it's been in my cart a couple times, and I'm wondering whether I should pull the trigger or not.
Oh, I see what you did there, pulling the trigger. You'll have to pull the trigger a lot on these villainous scum.
So I know we had the discussion on rails, off rails, whatever it is. Does it
what is your definition of what is no?
Meaning you're just walking and.
Do you mean Dead Space Extraction on rails?
Yes. Yeah.
No, it's not at all that. Because like I said, even when you're in the police station, you get to walk around. You can just explore and walk around and take your time starting the main missions. And even the levels, there's it's kind of like BioShock where you're on a linear path, but there are little places where you can explore and secrets to find. So no, it's not on rails at all. You're in complete control of RoboCop at all times.
Does he walk slow like he does plotting?
He fucking thuds. Yeah. I mean, there is I feel and maybe this is just in my head, maybe I've convinced myself of this, but I feel when you hold down L3 and go forward, it runs or goes faster. But yeah, that motherfucker's got some weight to him, and when he moves his feet, you will feel it.
Yeah, so I know you said you haven't seen the movies, and there's times that he walks like briskly, and he's just moving, but still his normal pace, his normal gait is very thud, thud, thud.
Yeah, no, I mean it feels like that's the way RoboCop should move. The way you play in the game is it feels the way that RoboCop should move. It doesn't feel like he's like, he had his Wheaties that morning and he put on his PF flyers like Benny the Jet Rodriguez and he can just zip around the map. No, not at the same time. Like just because he's a little bit slower because he's so big, it's never like a chore to get around. Like I was fine like just going around like Detroit and looking for all like these stolen items or these stolen like um, items caches. Like part of your experience is that you like pick up like evidence for crimes, be it like drugs or stolen purses, stolen wallets, all that kind of stuff. So like there's reasons to search the city, and I never felt like it was a task to move around with RoboCop. And at the same time, it felt like that's the way that RoboCop should move.
Okay, yeah, and Jurassic Park is in chat saying that it feels just like the films, which is kind of like the thing I'm going for. Because so, without spoiling it, it's just there's a scene in the movie. He raids a drug den, and you see it through his eyes, and it's just typical shooting gallery games where bad guys are popping up left and right, and he's just pointing the gun and just taking them down in 2 or 3 shots and just moving through basically a walking tank.
Yeah, and I will say though that part of this game, and one of my friends who loves RoboCop movies, he said he watched like he's not a big gamer, so he went into YouTube and watched some of the movie clips or like the cinematics from this game, and he said it's got for him he said it's got a pretty good story, and I will say like they have done a good job thus far of making RoboCop vulnerable at times and making it believable as to why he's vulnerable. Because like there's a scene where he walks into a room and like guys are just shooting him with guns and it's just bouncing off him. So whenever you lose health in the game, it's kind of silly because oh boy, these guys are shooting me, but why are they hurting me? Because I'm fucking RoboCop and I'm mostly metal. So that's kind of like a disconnect there. But like in the cutscenes and the sense of the story, they do make it seem he can be made vulnerable, despite the fact that there's early on in the game you learn that RoboCop can't take fall damage because he jumps down an elevator shaft to get to the next part of the level. But the other thing that with this big theme of the story that I've noticed is there's like a kind of battle between people who know RoboCop, and basically a lot of them still like there's this thing in the game where you kind of have to decide is this Alex Murphy or is this RoboCop? Like there's this theme of straddling how human is he and how robot is he, because a lot of it makes it seem like a lot of what is going on internally within RoboCop's head is still based on Alex Murphy's values and his thinking. So there is like an internal struggle there of like, how much man is this and how much machine is this? Which is kind of a nice aspect for like the story, just because, yeah, like Matt said, RoboCop seems invulnerable, but if he was invulnerable, then you'd never have any reasons for the movie because the protagonist would never be in danger. So they got to find ways to make him more human, like still lean on his human side.
Yeah, and that obviously was a theme in the movies. And in the movies, they literally had to break out a 50 cal to be able to do anything that might make him fear that he's in danger.
Oh no, so, you'll take damage from regular guns in this 9mm and whatnot. So, but like here's an example, like a side quest. Like this is not any kind of story spoiler. It can be, but I'm gonna just shadow it up to where you all don't get the why it happened. But RoboCop's taking a card around to get signed for one of his fellow officers, and like he's getting people to sign this card for someone, and that's the more human side of him that you see, because he, it's a nice thing he's doing. Like you wouldn't think of a robot being like, oh, I care enough about this person to have everyone sign a card for them, but yet he's like, one of your tasks, your secondary task is to take it around the police station and get people to sign it for this other officer. So it's I mean, they do a good job of showing his human side still. So.
Sorry, being mad or arguing.
We'll make for good podcasts here on the airwaves and argue on the airwaves.
I'm yelling at Tricky, being like, the post on Facebook and the Twitch feed say episode 570, and then he says you're seeing things, of which I snipped the post in Facebook to show him 570 because he changed the Twitch feed to 670 before I could snap a picture of that. You dirty bastard.
And if you look at the Twitch chat too, it says new status.
Oh, and also, but before we move on, I do want to say, Parky, I know Jurassic Parky's in the chat. Parky, hopefully if you are still playing the game, you're enjoying it, and if you've already beaten it, hopefully you enjoyed RoboCop.
Definitely. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them our way because Alex will be happy to answer them.
I gotta ask because I sent a picture in the Skype chat. Are either one of you guys eating that?
No, because I don't eat Peeps.
I sent a picture of Peeps that are Dr. flavored. Dr. Pepper flavored.
Dr. Pepper as well.
Well, I love Dr.
What
Pepper.
flavored?
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
I mean, I would try them just because I'm curious. I don't hate Peeps.
Oh, I hate Peeps.
I don't hate them, but I'm not going to go spend my money on them. If someone's like, hey, if like someone at work is like, hey, we brought this in to share with the office. Would you like to try a Dr. Pepper Peep? Sure, whatever. I'm sure I've eaten worse. I grew up eating circus peanuts, and those are fucking awful.
I mean, you do put peanut butter on your pancakes and waffles, so.
Well, first of all, usually when I go out for breakfast, I'm more of a savory breakfast guy, and I'll get myself some skillet potatoes, some cheese grits, and an omelet. I'm not about the dessert breakfast, but of course, I mean, peanut butter goes on so many things. It's delicious.
You done talking about what you've been playing, Alex?
I guess so. I've gone on for long enough.
Yes. Tricky?
I've been playing Division. Keeping up on the season. Season ends in 4 weeks, I think, right now. So we're getting close to the end of this mission. Looking forward to the climax. That's not something dirty. That's actually what they call the final mission. We got the update on the DLC. $15. Not a bad price for it. I was expecting closer to 30. So if you want to know more about that, excuse me, my nose has been clogged up for like the last week. Me and Rogue Gold from YouTube fame, who recently was invited over to Sweden to check out Division 2 and the DLC. We're going to be recording a Patreon episode, I think Wednesday, and that's going to be released on Thursday. I'm going to make it free for everybody, because we've been kind of slacking on our Patreon content lately, so we're going to do that. We also got Patreon content coming with The Last of Us. Trying to get Alex to do it with me, but Alex doesn't want to seem to.
Bro, I haven't even watched a single episode.
Alex doesn't want to seem to, respond to any text messages or anything. So I might have to.
What are you talking about? You haven't texted me. No, I haven't watched a single episode yet.
I haven't either because I'm waiting for you.
Okay, but there's plenty of time. Whatever.
Nothing.
Like, there's.
You got no excuse.
I have.
You had no excuse.
Excuses.
Anyway.
I have good excuses.
But back
First of all, you didn't even say Sweden right. You mispronounced it.
How did I say it?
Sweden.
And how am I supposed to say it?
Sweden.
Oh my god. Also been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Fun fact, I just looked on when I was looking up the How Long to Plat on Power PYX. I this isn't something I've experienced.
Are you getting paid by Power PYX to like mention their name on here? Because
I think they do good work. Oh, their
video. At least one of us does.
Their videos are always on point.
All right.
But it does say there are 0 offline trophies, and all the trophies are online trophies. And that this is the weird thing: all trophies are online only, but PlayStation Plus isn't required. The trophies don't unlock when disconnected from the internet, or if the Animus Hub launcher loses connectivity to Ubisoft servers. That's really freaking weird.
Wait a minute, does this game have multiplayer?
No.
So there's no online component at all, except for maybe being connected to Ubisoft servers to play the game.
Correct. And apparently the trophies don't pop unless you're online. So my question is, what if I earn a trophy while I'm offline? Does it pop when I become back online, or did I just lose the opportunity to earn that trophy?
Who the fuck knows? You know what? Another good reason to not play Assassin's Creed.
Oh, this game's good. This game's good.
No, thanks. I'll wait for Ghost of Yotei.
And
hey, there you go, Matt. Ghost of Yotei. That's the next PlayStation game you'll probably want to play.
Actually, probably.
Yeah, I know. Caught you off guard there, didn't I, you son of a bitch?
And the other game I've been playing is Days Gone. I'm having fun with it, but I'm having a hard time switching back between the two because Days Gone was Days Gone was one of my favorite games, and I'm hoping that enough people buy this that it like triggers them to say, hey, there should actually be a legit sequel to it. But
I mean, I think we're long past that point. They keep re-releasing it on because they put it out on PlayStation Plus, and there was hope that that would kind of spark some interest in it in the sequel. I mean, you never know; they could always, I guess, be planning something in the shadows. But considering Sony Bend has been working on other things, you think that they would give it to Sony Bend, and
well, we don't know what Sony Ben's working on.
yeah, but it wasn't anything. I don't think. Well, they had what they had some canceled projects that were Uncharted related.
No. They the rumor is that they pitched Days Gone 2, and then it got shut down, and the other rumor was that they were working on a live service game. Now, live service games have been canceled, but we haven't got confirmation that Sony Ben's game was canceled. So it's up in the air what they were actually working with. But if you remember, we didn't know what Sony Ben was working on for the longest ass time before we found out it was Days Gone for the long ass time. I mean, it was like 6-7 years before we found out what they were working on.
Yeah, but Sony has this thing where they'll pocket something, even if like people really want it, they'll pocket that shit for a long, long time if they don't feel like the game is successful enough. And obviously, I mean, there could have been other various reasons. Again, I paused it and I put it out there. I think that it was too close to The Last of Us, and they're like, you know what? No, we already got one of these games. We don't need another one. But maybe they put too much money behind it, and it didn't actually bring in as much as they wanted sales-wise. So,
well, that was back in the Jimmy Ryan days.
Yeah, but who really knows, honestly? But Sony, like, people have been asking for a Sly Cooper ever since the fourth Sly Cooper ended, and there's that cliffhanger ending, and Sony's just going to pocket it because they don't feel like it was successful enough. I don't know. If you were a Days Gone fan, I wouldn't hope for a sequel, or I'm not saying I wouldn't hope for a sequel, but I wouldn't expect a sequel because Sony outright had the chance to make it with the original makers. I said, no. Like, do we really think that that game is going to gain popularity after, even though it seems like, I mean, it's sold decently enough. Do we actually expect that it's going to explode in popularity where Sony's going to take notice of it?
Also, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't hear the last, 20 seconds because I had to take my earbuds off because I take my jersey off. But I'm sure you made a good point.
No, I basically just said, like, is this game going to explode after selling decently, maybe not as much as Sony wanted, but selling decently well? Is it going to explode in popularity upon re-release for them to take notice and be like, yeah, we were wrong all along?
Well, I don't ever think that they felt like it didn't perform good. I think
what the hell would be the other reason that they would, like, what other reason would there be that they wouldn't want to put it out? Because if it performed well, hell, you got less R&D, you got a ready-made sequel there where you've got assets you can use, you've got it built under an engine. Like, why the fuck wouldn't you?
Because this was Jimmy Ryan days, and he probably said, no, I want you to work on a live service game.
So you think, and I'm not trying to put
just
words in your mouth,
just speculation. I'm pretty
you're
sure.
speculating that Jim Ryan killed
Days Gone 2.
Jim Ryan regime, they killed the sequel to Days Gone in order to make more live service games.
That's my theory. Yes. Because you think about this as well. Naughty Dog, who is famous for their single player games, they had them working on factions for so long.
It was bullshit.
Right. The factions for so long, and then once they stopped working on factions, we got the trailer for Intergalactic, which then everybody started hating on. Which I don't understand how you hate on the game before you know a damn thing about it.
People will find a reason. It's the internet.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take over the show real quick because Matt has to step away. He has something going on.
You got multiple screens up.
Well, nobody can see that because I put up his cover image because...
I was going to say, yeah, because you don't want anybody zooming in on that. And
yeah, this is... Matt had a work emergency, so he's handling that in the background, so I put up a cover image so nobody can actually read his screens.
Matt's sending in the coordinates to where the Transformers need to go to stop the Decepticons. That's what he's doing right now.
I mean, if you do look to the left, not that the listeners can see this, but it kind of looks like he has 3 trophies on his left screen there. 3 platinum trophies. All right,
No,
let's move on.
he just didn't. He just hasn't synced him yet.
Yeah. All right, so we didn't talk about what Matt is playing, right?
We have not yet. No.
All right, so we'll either get that when he comes back, or we'll we'll just have to skip that for this week. But our first topic of the week is coming from Video Games Chronicle, written by Jordan Middler. EA Skate won't be playable offline as a 2025 early access launch is reaffirmed. Unfortunately, Matt, doesn't do the notes when he hosts the show, so I'm gonna have to read the article. Going back old school here, Alex. Your favorite thing. Oh wait. Matt might be coming back. Matt might be coming back. Let's hold off. Is Matt back?
Yes, I am back. Sorry, work emergency. I am the one on duty this week, so when shit goes sideways, I get called.
Okay, so
Was
Matt.
Was it a Decepticon attack, Matt? Did you have to call in the Autobots for do a rollout?
No, but there was a fire. So, and I have proof.
Oh, wow.
I'm here with you all.
Well, you're the guy always on call for that. Hey, Matt, there's a fire. What do we do? Wait, why do they call you to put out a fire? You'd be like, more fire.
More fire.
Extra napalm.
All right, Matt, before
Sorry.
I take off your cover image, is there anything on your back screens that cannot be seen by the public?
Let me lock my computer. Thank you very much.
I just didn't want any sensitive
No,
information
I
getting out there.
appreciate it.
Now your screensaver looks like a Nickelback cover art.
Oh, I'd start singing if I could remember any of their damn lyrics.
Well, their songs have been bored into our head for the last 20 fucking years. So
And surprisingly, I can't think of what the actual lyric is off the top of my head.
it's your mind protecting you from the trauma.
Do either one of you guys listen to the comedian Chris Porter?
Who?
No.
I guess not. He
I
made
listen to Kyle Kinane.
he made a joke about everybody was tired of Creed until they heard Nickelback, and they said, you know what, bring back Creed.
There was actually a Creed inside joke on Channel 3 this weekend in the chat lobby. We started talking about things, and then somebody said something about the Mandalorian, and I said something about the Creed, which naturally brought up something about them standing there with their arms wide open, 6 feet from the edge.
What if?
Yeah,
That's actually one of my favorite songs by them.
Long roundabout way to get back to where we are.
From
Tricky,
the
did you?
soundtrack.
I
want this to be known.
What did I miss?
Tricky, I want this to be known from your comment earlier. Nickelback is better than Creed. I don't give a shit. Like, you don't have to like Nickelback.
There's nothing wrong with Nickelback. I don't know why everybody hates them.
No, I agree. I may make jokes, but like I mean I agree with you, but no, like don't ever.
Nickelback.
But here's the thing: Creed's not good. Creed sucks. So let's not even.
Wow, I actually like Creed's music.
Just listen to Alter Bridge. Alter Bridge is the better version of Creed.
I don't know about that. The only thing Alter Bridge ever did was give Batista a theme song.
Don't you know that they wrote Metalingus, which is Edge's theme song?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. It was Edge, not Batista. I'm sorry.
Batista was what, Godsmack?
I don't know.
I'll say this. I'll joke about not liking Nickelback, but I'll listen to a Nickelback song. I cannot stand Creed.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, listen, if you like him, you like him. I'm not here to deter you from liking what you like. I cannot legitimately stand Creed. When I have my satellite radio running in the car, and I once had to change channel because Creed was on, and I went to another channel, Creed was on that other channel. I was like, shit, take it away.
All right, Alex, I feel like I'm going to report this, and you can be severely disappointed. Batista's theme song was made by Saliva.
Okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with Saliva either.
There was someone who had "I Walk Alone" or "I."
I Walk Alone is Batista's
Stand
theme.
Alone.
Yeah, but that's Godsmack.
No, I Stand Alone is Godsmack.
Okay, well.
And this is I Walk Alone. Anyway,
I mean,
so
Saliva's still better than Creed.
So anything, what you missed, Matt, was I was getting ready to introduce our first topic, but I was pointing out that because you don't put the notes in the agenda when you host because you have them on yourself, that I was going to have to read the article. So you just deprived our listeners of me reading an article to them.
Yeah, the entire article. Nope,
I
Matt.
benefited our listeners.
let's not get ahead of ourselves, Matt. We didn't talk about what you've been playing, though.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 weeks, so I've actually got a lot that was on my plate that I've been playing. First up, I did go back and continue playing more Star Wars Outlaws. I progressed the story a little bit. I got past Jabba's palace, which was a lot of fun. And actually, there's a little Easter egg in there that if you're crawling in the vents, you see a certain somebody having a conversation with somebody else in the
Yes, you
palace.
Do. Yes, you
That
do.
is Boba Fett. That is Boba Fett.
Thanks for the spoiler.
You didn't have to affirm it. Anyone would have guessed that. Is anyone going to put out there, oh yeah, they were talking to Bib Fortuna. Who gives a shit about Bib Fortuna?
I wish I could blast Bib Fortuna in the face, but I know that would break lore. Also put some more time into Battlefield 2042, just putzed around in multiplayer a little bit, sniping, running, gunning, helping other players. It's gotten a lot better. It got a lot more better.
But that's the one that came out and everybody hated, right?
Yes. Okay. Accurate. No, because it was shit when it first came out.
Okay.
That's kind of the EA thing. You know, Anthem, they released it and it was shit, and I thought over time it got a little better, but in Battlefield, Star Wars Battlefront.
But Anthem they shut down within like a year, right?
What? Battlefront?
No, Anthem.
Yeah, it didn't make the year.
But I thought they had improved it upon the launch.
No, it was very shit on launch, and they barely did anything to fix it. They tried, and nothing they did would bring people back. They were trying to go for like Anthem 2.0, and it just never left the ground.
Didn't the team get shut down like shortly after launch too?
No, because that was shit. Who's the team? Who's making Dragon Age? Dragon Age.
BioWare?
Yeah, it's BioWare. Maybe that specific offset, but not BioWare in general.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean like they got shut down as like the studio was. I meant like they got taken off the project.
I don't remember. Anthem was a mess to begin with, so I didn't follow much of it. Also played some more Helldivers 2. We're finding 2-man level 4s are more difficult than 4-man level 10s. I have no idea what the hell is the difficulty curve in that game.
Not if I'm your second there, Matt. We'd crush through that.
We'd crush it.
Yeah. I got all the Eagles you ever need, Matt.
Also, time into Heroes of Hammerwatch 2. I've talked about that before. Playing more of that. More of Monster Hunter Wilds. We are prepping for the new, I shouldn't say new monster. So they're increasing the difficulty of the monsters by introducing the arch-tempered variant. So it goes normal monster, tempered, and then now arch-tempered. And it's coming up. It's going to be difficult, but that's the point of the game, playing through something difficult. Tempest Rising. So I don't know. Either of you ever hear? I don't even think you would have played Command and Conquer back in the day.
No.
Yeah. So Command and Conquer, real-time strategy, the precursor to StarCraft, much beloved series with its Tiberian variant and its Red Alert variant. We've all been wanting a new Command and Conquer forever. Tempest Rising is basically Command and Conquer, but in all but name. It's you pick a side, you pick a faction, and it's real-time strategy, managing units, managing income, managing energy, and it's making sure that you keep your army alive and take out the other army. It's exactly the classic real-time strategy game I've wanted for forever. So I was very happy it came out, bought the deluxe edition just to get the little bit of an early access. And the funny story behind that is they accidentally released the game early for everybody, not just the deluxe reservationists. So they're coming up with a way to make the game. They're coming up with things to give those people who pre-ordered the deluxe version a little something extra, since they lost out on their early access 7 days. But I think they're doing a great job. The game plays really flawlessly, and it's really cool. So it's something one of my oldest gaming passions was real-time strategy. StarCraft, too fast, too much for me. I like playing it, but too much. This is
too
more
fast, too furious.
To Tokyo Drift. 3 Tokyo Drift. There you go.
Oh, wow.
So I enjoyed Tempest Rising and the time I'm having with it.
It's also a cool name, Tempest Rising.
Yeah, so what it is there's a material in the game called Tempest that you harvest to get funds to build your army. So that's kind of where that comes from.
Does it rise?
It does, literally, out of the ground. See, you were trying to be funny, and I counted your funny with facts.
I was trying to be funny. I was just asking a legit question, but you know what?
Right.
Yeah, the way you said it, you're trying to be a funny guy.
You told me numerous times I'm not funny, so I don't try anymore.
Not just me. That's a lot of people.
I think, Tricky, I do think you have your moments. Not many of them, but you have moments.
At least I get some credit.
Usually in the form of a dad joke.
I
also playing Midnight Ghost Hunt. This is a 4v4 PvP player game where one side is ghost hunters and the other side are ghosts. Have you guys ever heard of prop hunting in video games?
No.
So it's one of the older mods in FPS gaming where a player will take the shape of an object in the level, and the other players have to find that player. It's basically hide and go seek. So what this is the ghosts can take possession of items throughout the level, and there's like thousands of items you can possess. And the ghost hunters have to find you. But they have like 4 or 5 minutes to do so, because if they don't, it becomes what's called midnight, and the ghosts now become much more powerful and can kill the hunters more efficiently. So it's just a big old game of hide and seek, and if you don't seek them, you don't find them, you become the hunted. It's fun, and it has an offline mode where you can play with your friends and fill the positions with bots. So it was something I'd been keeping an eye on for a while. My friends and I pulled the trigger, and actually my one friend gifted me the game since it's on sale this week. So if you're on PC, look it up, Midnight Ghost Hunt.
So quick question, Matt. Midnight Ghost Hunt. So it hits midnight, the ghosts become more powerful. Does it ever not become, like, is there like a time period after that where it's not midnight? It's like day again or early morning and the ghosts aren't as powerful, or after it hits midnight, is it always midnight?
It's always midnight. So it's a 2-phase thing where the ghost hunters have 5 minutes to find you, and then the ghosts have 5 minutes to kill the hunters. After 5 minutes, the hunters can escape. So it's basically a 10-minute round. And I bought into the hype because Shadow dropped last week was Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. And I never played the original, and I decided now might be a good time to pick up on the series. I found it on Green Man Gaming for about like 12% off, so I got it for around $41. I've been playing on the PC, been playing on the Steam Deck. It has its technical issues. When you're outside, it struggles. But in the comments, Tricky's typing something in the chat.
I didn't type anything.
For some reason, something popped up, and I have no idea why.
No, you can't ever believe that motherfucker, because he held fast. In fact, I didn't send you an invite, and Helldivers, and of course the motherfucker, you can't believe him for a second.
Honest to God, I'm just scrolling Facebook right now as you talk about this.
Matt, believe what your eyes see.
Anyways, so I'm playing it. It's a lot of fun. It's not Skyrim, so I don't have to play that same game for the 50 billionth time. I tell you what, they call it a remaster. There's levels of remake here. New textures, new bug fixes, though they left in evidently some of the older bugs that were in the game. I've had one. No, I didn't have any crash. That was something else. The game looks great for what it is, for what they did. This is kind of like a half step between remastered and remake. So I'm very happy with it. I'm happy with my purchase, and I'm happy to go back in and spend some more time in Tamriel. But that is what I've been playing, and it's been a long 2 weeks. So here we are back, and we get to talk about the news. Let's see. Jurassic Park says been playing it since Tuesday, just like 2006 all over again, loving it. Yep. No, and I don't have the affinity for the original one, so I can't even say what it was like in 2006, but definitely it gives me that nostalgia feeling of like opening of a world playing Skyrim again. So
And I'm sure after people have played Skyrim 1,000 times at this point, that being able to go back to Oblivion is just kind of nice.
Well, after Bethesda has made 20,000 versions of Skyrim, and this is like the first re-release of Oblivion, yeah, I think people are happy with it until they, start releasing on everything and anything again. Our first news article is coming from Video Game Chronicles, and this is just a touch base on EA Skate. So, for those of you who don't know, EA has been making a skate game, which is people have been asking for a while because Tony Hawk has kind of been languishing out there. But
yeah, EA will make you regret that decision asking for another skate.
Yeah, and they certainly are because it's a free-to-play game with microtransactions. But now they are saying, this article was written by Jordan Midler, and what Jordan wrote about was a recent Q&A by the developers said, well, they're launching the game in early access later this year, and there won't be an offline mode. And there's a specific reason for that. That's because they said the city is going to evolve, it'll change over time, and smaller things like live events and other in-game activities. So I don't know if this is meant to like drum up anger or hate or something like that, because I look at it this way. I play Monster Hunter Wilds, and that is a very live-driven game. Now, it does have an offline mode if I want to, but the only way to pause that game is to be in single-player offline. Everything else is live. If I'm in the middle of a monster and something happens, I'm either attending to the monster or I'm attending to the thing I need to take my attention to. So the thing here saying it's EA, it's a free game, it's microtransaction laden, and then you have to be online at all times. So if your internet goes off for a blip, you're done. Your game quits out. So what do you think, Alex? Early access, always online, microtransactions?
Well, thank goodness I never wanted to play Skate. That's not an insult to anybody who wants to play another Skate, but I've established that I'm not a big skateboarding fan. But so the city's going to evolve. Can you not just download a patch with any changes to the city? Like, games change through patches. People download software updates. Can people just not do that via Skate? Like, is that impossible for them to do?
I was thinking the same thing. It was like, well, if somebody wants to play offline, why can't they just play offline? And then the next time they connect, it's online. But evidently there's going to be like events and things that they want people to be able to access. So you know what that means? FOMO, because they can't push you to spend money if you're not seeing the events pop live.
And just another reminder, I mean, it is free to play, so maybe the whole argument of owning it doesn't come into play here. But I would say that if you can't play a game offline, you don't own it.
Well, you never own a game.
Well, that's just another example of it, because if you always have to be online to play your game, that's just a restriction imposed by the company that I think you would argue, even if you bought the game, even if it's a physical fucking disc, you don't own that game because you can't play offline.
So yeah, Tricky, I know you had stepped away for a bit, but we're just getting the idea that EA making Skate, and it's going to be free to play, online always, can't have an offline mode, but it's going to be filled with microtransactions and launching in early access next year.
Yeah. I'm not interested in skating games anyway. I was never really a big Tony Hawk fan either. But unfortunately, this is the way games are going nowadays. How long until we start getting AAA games that are free to play and just fill with microtransactions, because people are going to see that's the way to make money nowadays.
Sorry, had a Zelda licking behind me.
I honestly don't think that can be a way to make money, but I also think that the industry as a whole needs to be aware of the fact that people are getting sick of being microtransaction to death, and not everyone is going to support all these microtransactions. Everyone's going to find a game they want to play, and they'll support that, and everything else they'll just pass by.
I agree with you to a point, Alex, but just to play a counterpoint here for a second, or as you guys like to say, devil's advocate.
You always call it devil's advocate, but
how many times, like, you got a game and you're like, oh, well, I don't like this outfit or whatnot. Sorry, I'm getting over the sniffles here. If they start introducing games where they go, okay, here's your base character, and you can just buy the outfit you want, you don't have to get these other outfits. I see this as the way to go. This is how they're going to make money. Like, all right, we're going to give people what they want and charge them for it, and this way we don't have to hear about people saying, oh, well, they didn't like this outfit, or this one's not, comically correct as far as, a superhero goes and all this other stuff. I see this as a possibility. I don't think this is the way it's going to go, but I see this as a possibility of saying, hey, we'll give the players what they want and we'll just charge them for that instead of having to charge people for something they don't want.
Yeah, but you also got to figure, like, the people making these games, like, I don't ever see Insomniac as a studio doing that. They have, and there's some studios within Sony that have a certain ability to make a call and say, no, we're not going to do that, or we're going to make this, without really having Sony having a ton of input into it. Naughty Dog is another company that can probably do that, but people who love making the games, I don't think they're going to just all of a sudden. Some companies may do it, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of them being like, hey, we're going to nickel and dime you for cosmetics when you bought like this $70 game. $70, $80, $90 game, whatever it is, we may give you DLC that you can buy, or like a costume or two that you can buy, but I don't think, like, instead of unlocking them via gameplay, I don't think they're going to go to, hey, just go to open up the PSN and buy any one of these costumes that you want.
Well, anyways, we're just letting people know, expect it, and it definitely will be interesting to follow and see how Skate succeeds or doesn't succeed. But speaking of success, it's been a resounding success, at least in the eyes of the gamer.
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Monster Hunter Wilds, yes. Potentially becoming fastest selling Monster Hunter game for Capcom. So Discord on PC filled that niche of having a free communications platform that people didn't have to put a lot into. They could buy things to support the developer, and it blew up to this massive program. So now the new CEO is coming in, and
it's not John Roccatello, is it?
No, it is not, but it might as well be, because the new CEO, Jason Citron, formerly of Activision Blizzard, is now talking about taking Discord. I'm sorry, no, it's not. Jason Citron is the old CEO. There's going to be a new CEO, Humam Saknini, who is the former Blizzard Activision person. And they are going to be taking Discord public. It's no secret that Discord has had its share of financial issues for a while, and taking public is one of those things that companies will do to get their product to make money. With that, I'm sure, comes a whole lot of things. Now, I know this doesn't affect you guys very much, but there's been a whole lot of things that Discord's been doing with both Xbox and PlayStation. And now, potentially, it's, when something goes public, you're no longer beholden to the users, you're beholden to the stockholders, which makes me concerned that we're going to lose Discord at some point, or at least in a form that makes it user-friendly, easily accessible.
Was it last year or the year before that they fired all those people?
I don't remember.
Because I feel like they fired, because Twitch and Discord fired around the same time, within the same 5-month period, I feel like, fired hundreds of people. And I can't remember if it was last year or the year before.
I don't remember, simply because it's been so long hearing things go up and down for Discord. But you think with all the things and the partnerships that they were doing and building together, that I remember always hearing them have financial issues. So I would not be surprised if that was true at some point.
January 2024, Discord laid off 17% of its employees, which was around 170 employees. So it was last year.
Okay. So anyway, the point being is you got a platform that gamers love, and it's now going to be as some of the people on the internet have been calling it, shitified, because it's going to be monetized to hell.
Do you think
that's our concern?
Do you think this has anything to do with the lawsuit they're facing?
No. I think that's something else. There is another news story that, what do they say? I forgot who said they're suing.
I think it's a state or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember. But the point is, it's all this is equaling not good news for Discord.
So, I mean, this is a way for them to raise capital for the company. So maybe they have big projects in mind, stuff they want to do, but also they have to find a way for people to buy into Discord, like as a shareholder, and to make it worth their while to have like good return on investment for those people. They then have to find ways to increase the share price and have the company do better financially. And what does that mean? Does that mean firing more people? Does that mean cutting corners? Does that mean charging for things they wouldn't have normally charged for? Does that mean raising prices for things? You know, when it's a smaller platform and people are, buying things to help the cause, it's a lot different when they are trying to make money to support, their IPO, to make people who have bought into stock happy. So, yeah, I mean, this could absolutely be a terrible thing for Discord, and we'll just have to see where it goes. But I mean, it's not like Coca-Cola where you buy a stack of Coca-Cola. It's like, oh, we just need to make more flavors or sell more Cokes. This is how do we further monetize this platform that people use as just a basic communication tool.
Which, I come from an era where people were paying for things like Ventrilo or TeamSpeak. And it's, Steam even has its own ability to link up and talk to people, though it's not great. Discord just filled this easy access area that we could do. And, as we're personally facing an issue with Skype going away and what we're going to do to stream, we're looking at Discord. What's to say that they don't start charging people to transmit video or transmit gameplay or start monetizing that in a way that maybe we weren't overtly aware of?
That'll be $25 for the first hour, Matt, and $50 for every 10 minutes after that.
Literal concerns, because you never know what they're going to do to start making money on this platform. Which, don't get me wrong, the platform needs to make money. I've said this about games and anything. It needs to be financially stable. Otherwise, what's the point? Nobody's going to continue running a platform that is losing them money time after time. Just like I talk about Game Pass. They're not going to continue doing that just for to lose as much money as Discord was losing. So,
but the problem is, Matt, there's a difference in being profitable and staying alive and being expected, because when people invest in stocks and mutual funds and all that, they expect their money to grow. They don't just put it in there for it to stay the same, because obviously there is a chance you could lose that money if the stock does poorly. So they're looking out for return on investment and they want their money to grow. There's a big difference in, hey, we're making money as a company and we're making money and we're expected to have growth for all the people who bought into our company.
Well, and so that's the thing. Discord's continually growing because of how popular it is. But there's also a lot that goes on in Discord that is drawing attention. The fact that things like Discord and Telegram being used by terrorist groups to transmit things and recruit. There's been a whole huge thing about terrorist organizations recruiting younger and younger kids by going to platforms like Discord. So there's things that they need to do to stabilize and secure the platform, but it is a tall task, and maybe taking public is the right move. I just hope it doesn't affect the end user too much.
The only way Discord makes money is off of Nitro, right?
So, and I think emoji, you could buy like sticker packs, emoji packs, things like that.
Yeah, they definitely need to expand their business model.
Yeah, well, hopefully, like I said, it doesn't smack us too much in the face with their monetary dick, so to speak.
Well, I hope not, because in the next couple of weeks we might be having to use Discord.
Well, the next article is Tricky's favorite group, IGN and Eurogamer owner Ziff Davis is suing OpenAI for content theft. And this was posted on Video Games Chronicle.
I said, good, get him. I have no idea.
So, written by Chris Scullion, just talks about how the publisher, which involves IGN, Eurogamer, GameIndustry.biz, Digital Foundry, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, and Hookshot. So you remember how IGN bought all those sites last year. They're suing the Chat GPT company, and it's basically just saying that the company has intentionally and relentlessly reproduced exact copies and created derivatives of Ziff Davis works, and therefore is infringing on the copyrights and diluted the trademark. So, of course, OpenAI turned around and responded and said, Chat GPT helps you enhance human creativity and advance scientific discovery and medical research, enables hundreds of millions of people to improve their daily lives. I don't know if they think it's being used the way it is being used, because I know when I sometimes get a brain fart, I'll go into an AI module and say, hey, blah, 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 and it gives me some feedback, and I use that. And just like in college, when I was writing my papers, I don't exactly write word for word what it says, but I paraphrase. I use some of the ideas that it gives to expand on my own.
Shame.
Yeah, heaven forbid. Maybe I'll start using it to make show notes. And it's again, now we're getting to that area where AI and generative AI is starting to create works that are exactly like others, because it doesn't know that you shouldn't plagiarize other things. But I have an issue with this, because it's the same thing that I've had where I go into an IGN article and they're just quoting another article. And then that article is quoting another article. And that article is quoting another article. We're just now doing it where AI is doing it as opposed to a journalist. I don't know. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder within the games industry how much actual reporting is being done and how much is, just one website breaking a story and then like 30,000 others covering that based on what another website said. Tricky sometimes says we're covering the news or reporting the news. We're not reporting the news. We are sharing what another person reported. But yeah, I mean, like that happens all over. It's not just IAG, and that happens all over the place where there's one source and then everybody else, hopefully reports to the source. I mean, and that's why I like us to go to the original source when we're talking about stuff. I don't want to sit here and be like, Video Games Chronicle quoted or reported via this site, and we finally get to the PlayStation blog. No, go to the original website and read from the original website, the original story. But I mean, AI is just really surprising. Like, can you really? I don't know. Can they really sue OpenAI for stuff that's created by software? Because, like you said, the software, it's not like there's anything malicious in the software. The software doesn't know that this statement fucking exists somewhere else, right? Or this story exists somewhere. Like, it's not like.
Well, to be fair, ChatGPT does search the internet for stuff, and it tells. I think, at least when I used it a couple times, there are limitations. It says like any information after such and such date is not readily available. So, but Alex, if you look in the Skype chat, the picture in there, I actually made with Chat GTP, and a lot of people think it's you. So,
Wait, where?
in the Skype chat at the bottom. You're not on Facebook anymore, so you didn't see it. So.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of people think that picture is you. Just minus the beard.
You can't share the picture in the chat here? Like, you can't just save it to your computer and share it in the chat?
I did. You don't see it?
No, the last picture I see in our Skype chat it says, "Be right back, gotta blow my nose," is the last message I see, and then...
Oh, Matt sees it. Anyway, if listeners are wondering, it's in the Facebook group, but Alex, it's there, so I don't know.
I maybe have Ashley pull it up later because she's still on Facebook. So,
yeah, you need to get back on Facebook. At least for the.
Do I?
At least
no
for the.
one has ever said that to me.
Stay away. You know, there's nothing good there.
No one has ever said to me, "Man, you really got to get back on Facebook."
I
There's
mean,
so many good
our
things
users.
happening.
How? Yeah, I was gonna say, how are you gonna interact with our users?
They can send in
Through the
questions
show.
on the podcast.
It's not the same. Not the same. Yeah. I mean, I really don't know what to say about this. Like, unfortunately, AI is the way we're going in the future, and people just gotta get used to it.
But I mean, I guess we'll see. But I wonder if IGN really has like a leg to stand on here. I mean, again, it's software and not a human making the conscious decision to steal this work, this work.
Right,
like
but
this writing.
but somebody did program the software.
But did they program it to? They didn't program it specifically to go after IGN's work.
No, they programmed it to scour the internet for information. There's really no
Yeah.
difference than this and, Siri or Alexa or Google. They scour the internet for information and they just put it and they deliver it in a unique way.
Yeah, but they're not. They don't like attribute anything that they tell you, do they?
Matt, you muted.
Yeah, I know. So the problem is things like Siri and Alexa, they're just returning information. They're not traditionally generative AI. They're a different. I forget what the term is. What ChatGPT is generative AI, meaning it actually is creating. It's doing things. It is doing something more advanced than just saying, yes, the weather outside is nice. Which is why when it comes to making articles, if it's making exact copies of articles, meaning it's taking other people's intellectual property and putting it out there as its own, whether it's a person, whether it is AI, it's copyright theft. And that's something that needs to be addressed.
I mean, I always think it's a fine line in Jesus Christ, sorry. Just watching a video of a cat and a dog, and the cat just like Superman jumps over the dog.
Cats can jump.
I hope it was wearing a cape, otherwise it clearly couldn't jump over that dog.
See, I would share it with you, Alex, but you're not on Facebook.
That's fine. I'm sure I could go YouTube search cat jumping over dog, and it would give me a bevy of results.
I just said it to Matt, so Matt can enjoy it because he's a cat lover.
He's a dog lover too. First of all, you hate cats, Tricky. You always talk about how cats are evil.
Cats are the devil's spawn, yes. Including the one I literally saved his life, and the cat hates me.
It's probably because it's a Devils fan.
Well, it is devil spawn, so. Yeah. I lost my whole train of thought, so I don't know where.
All right.
We can just move on.
All right. Well, yes, let us move on, which brings us to our final story of the night. The Ghost of Yotei comes to PlayStation 5 on October 2nd, and this was reported by the PlayStation blog and accompanied by a new trailer called the Onryo's List, where it shows our heroine Atsu, who was left for dead a number of years ago, and she is hunting and trying to find the people that wronged her. And she has a list of 6 names: the snake, the oni, the kitsune, the spider, the dragon, and Lord Saito.
Oh, well, I won't be playing this game.
It's a name, Tricky.
It's still the spider. It's still a spider.
Yes, it is not a spider. It is the spider. It's a difference.
Oh, so it's the ultimate spider is what you're saying.
No, it is not the ultimate spider. It's a human. I think you'll be fine. So
I'm gonna need somebody to play the game ahead of time and report back.
I will be playing it, yes. So with that said, they also made a number of other announcements, including that you can start pre-ordering it starting May 2nd, and it's going to include a number of versions, including the typical standard, deluxe, and the $250 collector's edition, which is going to include a sash, a Suba, a ghost mask replica, art cards, a Zen Hajiki coin game and pouch, a papercraft ginkgo tree, which if you're looking at it, the heroine Atsu was left to die on a ginkgo tree. So that's where that comes from. And then a whole bunch of digital stuff that you'll get as part of the normal collection. So I know I'm not getting the digital deluxe edition. I will continue on just playing the regular standard edition. But I am excited for this game. I loved the first Ghost. I loved the upgraded edition, the director's cut on PS5. And with that, just, I would talk about the Onryo's list. For those of you who don't know, Onryo is a Japanese folklore ghost that is able to harm the living. So, again, another play on the ghosts of Yotei, calling her the Onryo. So I am excited. Alex, how about you?
Well, I'm not spending any money beyond the standard version of the game because I feel like I'll get enough enjoyment out of that. But no, I mean, I expect, because the opening to the original Ghost was incredible. Like, you're running down to the beach, you're overwhelmed by Mongols, but you're fighting as hard as you can. Like, that was a spectacular way. And there were so many fantastic, like, as soon as you stepped into the game and like you became Jin and you were just like riding your horse through the meadows, like, it was a fucking beautiful game, and you're just like in awe of everything. And then like there were certain story missions, and like that game had so many highlights along the way. And it became even better once you mastered the combat, or at least got it down well enough, and then you got the ghost ability, and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna fucking tear up everybody's rectums on this. But so I love the first game. The first game is a masterpiece, which, I don't mean to hate on Assassin's Creed Shadows with ever playing it, but to me, I'm not going to go play this game and then go buy Ghost of Yotei. I'll just wait till Ghost of Yotei, because there's been enough time between Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei to where I'm ready to play another style of that game. And I honestly don't want to play Assassin's Creed Shadows and then go try to play Ghost of Yotei, because I feel like, it would change my enthusiasm for it. I very much like to have palate cleansers and play different styles of games, and I just feel like Yotei's the better place for my money. So yeah, I'm not spending any extra money for the digital deluxe editions. I don't need any physical stuff. I just want to play the game because I know that they'll knock it out of the park again, because of they did so well and put so much work into the first game that how could you not believe in what they're doing now?
So disappointed.
Tricky, you said you're not gonna play it because one of the characters is named the Spider. So obviously your opinion doesn't matter until after you play it.
I'll wait for you to play and report back.
And
Are you seriously not going to play this game at launch?
No, not now that spiders have been confirmed.
You're going to miss out on a classic sucker punch experience because of some digital spiders.
And you're missing out on a classic Assassin's Creed experience because of the internet. So I don't want to hear your nonsense.
The character's name is the Spider. So therefore, Tricky says, nope, not playing.
Well, okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's be real for a second here. And I'm maybe over-exaggerating here. But would there not be a logical conclusion that if you're going to a den of somebody called the Spider, there's going to be spiders around it?
Could be just a clever nickname for various reasons. And also Tricky.
Because they swing 8 katanas?
I take umbrage with the fact that you suggest that I'm not playing Shadows because of the internet. No, I'm not playing Shadows because of every Assassin's Creed fucking game I've played in the last 5 years.
This is the Assassin's Creed everybody wanted since the first one.
Not me. I already played the one I wanted. It's called goddamn Origins. And that's what I wanted to play that.
Everybody's been calling for an Assassin's Creed in feudal Japan since the start, and we finally got it. And everyone's like, "Oh no, the game's gonna suck. The game's gonna suck." And it comes out to glowing reviews, and everybody's like, "Okay, maybe it's good."
You know what? Go play a Syndicate and Rogue, and you won't want to play another Assassin's Creed after that.
I loved Syndicate. Syndicate was my favorite.
Well, that's the
Syndicate's my favorite one.
Ugh. That says a lot.
Jacob and Evie Fry. And Steampunk.
Yeah, not great. Not great. Kind of mid, but. No, but
I don't know how anybody could listen to a game opinion of yours.
I just do not understand. Like, after playing various Assassin's Creeds, I do not understand.
Tell him, Parky. Tell him. He doesn't listen to me.
I don't understand why you would be so enthusiastic about the series. I'm sorry. It's a series that's gone on too long, and they clearly are out of fucking ideas.
Jurassic Park, he said, the spider, they just might have 6 arms and 2 legs, and then he screams, "No Syndicate slander."
Oh, Parky, I'll slander Syndicate all day. No, you know what? I'll slander Rogue before I slander Syndicate. But no, like, go watch videos about like how people rank Assassin's Creed, and guess what? Syndicate's not at the top.
Most popular Assassin's. Help if I spelled right. Assassin's Creed games.
You don't need to be doing this on the podcast because it's
Nah,
just for audio. But
No, I'm looking it up right now just to see what comes up. 2 and
There's a
Black Flag
reason-
are at the top of the list.
what's that?
2 and Black Flag are on the top of the list. But according to, IGN, who apparently I'm, paid by, 10 was Revelations, 9 is Syndicate, 8 is Valhalla, 7 is Brotherhood, 6 is Origins, 5 is Unity, 4 is Shadows, 3 is Odyssey, 2 is 2, and the most popular one was Black Flag. Those are your
Usually,
top-
from what I've seen, the lay of the land is that Black Flag and 2 are the most popular. Yes.
Jurassic Park Yo says, yeah, fuck Rogue, and Syndicate was the reason they took a 2-year break.
Yeah, I mean you got to remember what it was Unity, then Syndicate, and after Syndicate they made Origins. So they changed up the whole thing after Syndicate. Unfortunately, because the series had gotten stale, they needed to change something.
You've gotten stale.
Dude, I'm 40 years old.
You
I'm
got
sure
you, chicken fucker.
it's not as good the second time, but I love the first time so much. I'm 40, of course. I've been on this earth for 40 years. Of course, I'm starting to get a little stale. You can't do 670 episodes of a podcast. Well, 610 episodes of a podcast and not become a little stale. People have ever figured out everything about you.
We're gonna keep this moving along, but just be aware. Ghost of Yotei comes out in October.
Parky says Syndicate was too perfect. They had to change the formula.
Don't pre-order, but definitely go support the developer.
Yeah, good we finally have a date.
All right. Now comes to the fun part where we talk about listener questions.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
And now comes the part where we don't have any listener questions, so we move on to the topic of the week.
That's a long story short right there.
Topic of the week.
I forgot to shorten it.
Jesus Christ, Tricky.
Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
Yes, I am.
Somehow that still worked.
It does. It absolutely does. All right. So, a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks, including the Switch 2 pre-order debacle, which there's been a whole bunch of stories and things going on there. I've already told the guys I have secured my Switch 2 pre-order.
And he won't give me one.
As long as Walmart and Target don't cancel me.
And he won't give me one.
I won't give you one because A, you'd be paying for it, and B, you are allowed to pre-order it once you admit Zelda Breath of the Wild and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom are in fact Zelda games, which you refuse to do.
Because they're not.
So you can go pound salt.
Well, he also said that Echoes of Wisdom was not a Zelda game either.
Which is
No,
because that's the ultimate Zelda game.
The Zelda game starring Zelda.
No, that I corrected myself on because I checked out halfway through that conversation. It was like, oh, I thought he was talking about Breath of the Wild, and it's like,
yeah, okay.
I corrected myself.
Checked out through half of that conversation. Tricky's podcasting capabilities, everyone.
Hey, at least I'm not playing video games like Alex is.
Alex is not playing video games.
Today.
I'm
What are
sitting
you
there
talking about?
staring
Every
at
time
him.
I'm on camera, I'm never playing video games.
Bullshit! I've literally seen you walk up just pre-podcast, bring your PlayStation in, and set your TV and your PlayStation to the left, and you're over there going, I gotta do some mining. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Matter of fact,
Have I done that?
Matter of fact,
Recently,
Matt can back me up on this because your ass isn't on Facebook anymore. By the way, Alex, I texted you the picture. So you should be able to see it that way. The second somebody saw that picture, the first question was, "Is that Matt?" And then the second question was, "No, it has to be Alex because out there playing a video game while they're podcasting."
you can ask Ashley. She's sitting downstairs, and usually I don't bring the PlayStation up with me because, I'll bring it up when I edit, when I'm listening to the show, but I don't bring it up here because it's too much work to do all the shit I got to do on a Sunday night. finish up putting all my audio, exporting my audio, removing noise, all that, taking care of the cats, and then dragging the PlayStation and TV back downstairs. I don't do that. So have I done that? Yes. Do I do it recently? No. Like,
Mm-hmm.
All
you
right.
can ask
Anyway,
Ashley
we're
because she's
getting
sitting down
away.
with the PlayStation.
No,
Goddamn right,
no,
we're Matt.
we have to air out our grievances, Matt.
No,
Nobody cares about the Switch too. We're airing this
Oh,
grievance out.
Only the 8 to 9 million people that are pre-ordered it, which is fast tracking it to be one of the biggest.
And
console
5 million of
launches
them
in
are going to be
history.
canceled.
History. One of the biggest console launches in history, Tricky.
Wait
than the PS4.
Wait until
bigger
all the
than PS5.
Wait until all the news stories of, oh, my pre-order got canceled.
Well, yes. Okay, so the reason why I want to talk about this is because now GameStop and even Walmart are going out there and advertising how they're doing research to determine if people have used bots or are they trying to scam the system and doing multiple orders to single homes. So they're going out there and they're canceling some pre-orders, which are continuously freeing up inventory for people to go in. And there's been stories that beyond April 24th at midnight, which is when all of the retailers except GameStop went live with their orders, at least here in the US, they pretty much sold out immediately as expected. I was up at midnight and I managed to secure my order. I managed to secure an order for Kalai's because she wasn't able to stay up. And now I got mine through Target and Walmart. Best Buy, I got in their queue twice because they did not start at midnight. They started at like 12:34 or some bullshit time. And I remember sitting in their queue for 50 minutes and then another 30 minutes. And both times, the first one errored out and the second one got screwed up and finally said, nope, no more stock is available. GameStop opened the next day with lines around the door, but people are still reporting that they've been walking into GameStops that haven't filled out their entire queue, meaning that there's like usually one or two consoles available because orders are getting reallocated, orders have been getting canceled, and you know, a lot of stores were having like 30 to 50 consoles available at each GameStop. But this kind of brings me back to the PS5 Xbox Series launch, because I remember I got my bundles through GameStop ordering online for the PS5, and it included Miles Morales. It included, at the time, All Stars Destruction, but that got delayed, so that was never there. And then I think an extra controller, which wasn't a bad bundle overall. But this was kind of, you know, they had the two Switch 2 versions, meaning the Mario Kart bundle and then the base game, or the base system. But now there's reports of a GameStop in Astoria, New York, that was forcing people to buy their bundles, and bundles included various things in the setup, including gift cards, the SD Express card that was supposed to that the Switch 2 supports, and you know, controllers and other things that GameStop usually does, which they weren't doing online this year. They weren't forcing people to buy bundles. But when it came to the PS5, I remember vividly that the only thing that was available were bundles. And you couldn't return anything in the bundle because they were trying to combat the scalpers that were going after them.
That's how Alex and Yield got theirs. Is I was able to secure bundles and ask them if they want to buy. Alex, you remember what was in your bundle?
No,
He's shaking his head.
No, I don't, because
I know you got a controller and a game or two.
Well, did I get a game? Because I mean, Astrobot came with every PlayStation 5 console, but I can't remember if I got a game because didn't you? I mean, Ashley bought it, and because I initially said no, I don't want to pay for the bundle. I'll just wait to buy one. But did you take stuff out of there to sell to somebody else? Because like I don't remember.
I know. I think you got a PlayStation Plus.
It might have been a gift card or something.
I think. Yeah, I don't remember. Because every bundle was different. Like your bundle was different from Yield's, different from the Brains. I wound up selling like 4 or 5 bundles to people. I don't have a problem with them selling bundles, but I do have an idea of how they can combat scalpers. But infrastructure wise, I don't think it would ever work because I I I could be wrong, but I thought I saw a story about how Nintendo themselves were combating the scalpers by letting you pre-order on a site, but you had to have played online for like an hour or two, so your account
So
had to be like somewhat active.
let me jump in. You have to have the Nintendo Switch Online.
Right.
You have to have a certain number of hours playing on the system, and you have to have opted in for data sharing. In other words, that you send your data to Nintendo. So that those three things are what they were doing. And again, that just enters you into the lottery. That's not a guarantee that you're going to get an invitation to order, and those invites go out on May 8th. What the issue here is, and there's another side story on top of this, was GameStop proper, GameStop actual, was not putting bundles out. Like if you go to their site and you go to the Switch 2 order page, it was just the system.
Okay.
This store is allegedly, when they had people in line saying, you have to buy this bundle or we're not letting you order. We cannot process just for the individual system SKU. So it seems like this store was doing this on their own without GameStop having a say in it. And that is also rumors going around that there were GameStop saying, I'm not selling you a Switch unless you buy a pro membership. Not just be a part of the free pro program,
Right.
but you had to put down the $25 per year to buy it. And again, those are just rumors. Those are things that people are saying on the internet. So,
And do you have a problem with them saying you have to buy a bundle?
I do not have a problem saying you have to buy the bundle because.
Wait, really? No, wait, like from what I get, what you're saying, they're bundling shit with a console just at their store. Hey, like throw in a couple gift cards and stuff like that. That's dirty pool. Like that. No, that's no go.
If they're doing it, so before I got to finish my statement,
I'm sorry.
Yes, don't have a problem if that's what the company is doing. But if a store opts to do that on their own, that's sticking over the players and the people in that neighborhood because they don't know. You don't know. You get into the store and expecting just to be able to buy a console, and they're like, no, fuck you. Give us extra money. I think that was the store's way. And we all know and are aware of the metrics and things going on behind GameStop's scenes and how people are held accountable. But because that store was doing that, they would be artificially inflating their attachment rates. And that is where I have the problem. I don't have a problem with the company going, hey, to combat scalpers and people doing things, we're going to throw in this other shit. And generally speaking, when I bought the PS5 bundle, with the exception of the All-Stars Destruction, which I didn't want, it had Miles Morales, it had the extra controller. Those were things I wanted.
That you would have bought anyway.
I would have bought anyway. It wasn't like they were throwing in headphone, like Turtle Beach headphones or a third-party controller. It was the game and the extra controller. I didn't even necessarily have problems with them throwing in a GameStop gift card in the bundle, because that I would have used that at the store regardless. That had a monetary value. I have a problem when it's just an individual store choosing it on their own because they were turning away people. And the part of the story here is that GameStop came out and said, listen, if you were turned away, DM us. We'll help you figure out how to determine that you were actually turned away and can assist you with getting a Switch 2 at some point. And I also have a problem with them forcing pro memberships on people. I understand they're held to their accounts and metrics, but this was just a dirty way of doing it. So
it's a good way to send people not to your store ever again in the future.
See, I don't have a problem with people bundling and things like that. I see your point, but if I was a mom and pop store and I'm selling the Switch 2 and I want to entice people to come back to my store, throwing a gift card into that bundle, I think it could be helpful in the fact of like, okay, you're going to get these people back in the store at some point and you can show them why it's worth shopping there. But it is a dirty tactic because you're saying we're forcing you to spend more money in our store.
You know what? People are kind of predisposed to go to a mom and pop shop. Like people who are in mom and pop shops and independent game shops are there because they want to be, because they want to support places like that instead of GameStop. So
But
the
see,
best way,
I maybe it's a New York thing, but I've actually shopped less and less at mom and pop stores because I'm finding out that their prices are just, you know, they're more expensive generally than
yeah,
anything else.
because they cannot afford to sell at the same price as big box shops. I mean that's part
No,
of the
I
reason
mean,
why big box shops.
I get
That's
that.
why big box shops came in and like wiped out a lot of mom and pop shops. But if you're at an indie store, like you're there because you want to support them, because you understand that the stock is not going to be as good, the prices are not going to be as good. I mean, I like going to one of our retro indie game shops because like they've got older games, they sell SNES, NES games, you know, original Xbox games, stuff like that. I mean, again, it's a lower stock, but I'd rather go shop there than or like shop on the PlayStation Network, search from the PlayStation Network, than go to like Walmart or Best Buy or GameStop. I would just rather do that. So I don't think that throwing in a gift card to an indie game shop, people will shop there if they want to. They want to support local. That's what they're going to do. But I think that just throwing in all this extra stuff and making them buy them alongside their purchase, which is again a more expensive console than previously Nintendo had sold. I just don't think that's a good way to get customers.
And now on the other side of that, you got the entire internet portion of that, the online sales. And obviously a lot of people have been complaining during the PS5 era of, Walmart, Target, Best Buy. What are you doing to combat scalpers, to stop people? Well, they effectively made the online queue. The problem was, in this case, I started reloading all the sites at 11:59 and 30 seconds, trying to make sure I got something going. Best Buy, I already said, didn't start till like after 12:30. Walmart, it put you in a queue, but it didn't tell you anything. It just said, hey, you're in a queue, sit tight. You can click here to go back to shopping and we'll keep you in the queue. But it didn't give you a time estimate, didn't give you any sort of, where you were in the queue. Target's online site crashed, just straight up crashed. But the app worked. And my story is that I was able to add the system to my cart in the Target app. And then it kept giving me the error of can't complete checkout, too heavy of traffic, or there was an error, had me sign out, sign back in. And then on top of that, when I finally did get into checkout, my Chase card flagged a fraud alert, and I had to quickly, type yes in my chat to say, yes, I am actually trying to do this. So I was able to get in Target, but then there were rumors about people saying that Target was canceling their orders. And I didn't get my confirmation email until like an hour later. So it was a very nervous hour. Walmart, I was in queue about 12 minutes before I got into checkout. I actually was able to order the base station, the base console, because that's what popped first. And then I was able to order the Super Mario World bundle. So I canceled the base console because I didn't know if Walmart would look at that and say, two consoles to the same house, fuck you, one per person, and cancel that. So one was going to get canceled anyway. I'd rather have the Mario Art World bundle. And then the queue for Best Buy was, in some cases I heard, oh no, it was Walmart. Walmart, you actually, on your phone, you had to hold down a button to prove that you were human. So all of this is to say these companies are legitimately trying to put measures in place to combat mass purchasing by bots. And I don't know if there were some people calling it trash, other people didn't like it. And yes, these sites were not ready in cases crashed. But I can't argue that what they were doing was the right thing, trying to slow down and limit the number of purchases, because there were still things on Reddit I was seeing. People were able to purchase Walmart consoles up through to like 6 a.m. that morning.
I mean, it's always going to be a nightmare because these sites get overloaded with so many people trying to pre-order the stuff, and like there's always going to be errors just because everyone's just jumping on. So I mean, it sucks that's if you're waiting up and that's your experience. I mean, I get that sucks, but you kind of got to expect it because just traffic, it just happens. It's kind of the price you pay for, a chance. It's a risk you take as a chance at being like an early Switch adopter or any console adopter. I've actually never pre-ordered a console. I've always just waited till I could find it in the store. And I don't wear that as like a badge of honor. I just don't want to deal with shit like this. I just don't. But you know, really the best thing they can do to combat scalpers is to say you can buy one, and that's all. Because what else can you really? I mean, Nintendo's doing a few other measures and making people like qualify to get in line to buy a Switch. But really, the best thing you can absolutely do is say you can order one console. To this address. Now, people may be like, oh, my aunt and my grandma, like, I'll just send them to those addresses. But, I mean, making sure that, like, one per credit card number or something like that, I don't know. Just limiting to one per household is the best thing you can probably do to combat scalping.
Oh, definitely an idea, because when you take a look at what people were doing during the PS5 era was, multiple consoles. People showed pictures of them having 40 consoles. And you wonder, wait, did you have bots order and ship 40 consoles to your house? What did that look like from UPS or FedEx? Like, how did that look? Guys rolling up with 8 boxes of 4 consoles each. Craziness. But yeah, and that's partly what GameStop was doing. And I was on the GameStop subreddits, and some of the employees were sitting there saying, oh no, it was obvious. We'd see somebody come up, order a console, and then come up, and their buddy would be like 3 people behind, and they're ordering to the same console. They're ordering their console to somebody else's account. Like, wait, we just did this account 3 accounts ago. Like, what the heck's going on? And they were like, no, sorry, console's already sold to this address or this account, can't do it. So that's one of the things that people are doing in person that they're able to manage. But
I thought you were going to say people were going back with trench coats and fake mustaches, and they're trying to.
It's literally 3 ducks in a trench coat ordering a console for their
going in disguise. What they were doing is they were going to see if they had any bread. Like, you guys got any bread? We don't care about the Switch. We just want some bread.
I don't have the Switch, but I got this nice loaf of Martin's potato bread. Quack! I mean, yes. So. Again, it's in this modern age where people are using AI and bots to order consoles and get these things so they can scalp them. Now what you have are people putting it up on eBay, saying confirmed, showing their receipt, showing their confirmation. But now there's a counterculture going where people are going in and reporting eBay listings because eBay says you have to have like a very specific thing. It must say pre-sale. It must say it in the subject. It must say it in the description. And your item must be delivered within 40 days of receipt. So if it was like 40 days before, people were reporting it to eBay saying there's no way that they could ship it by 40 days because it's more than 40 days now. So in some cases, they're successful in getting listings taken down. But now, even more so, there's people putting pictures of Switch 2 boxes on eBay with descriptions saying, I'm doing this so the bots buy it, so that way we combat the bots buying these and selling them at a higher price elsewhere, which I feel like some people are altruistically doing it and other people are just being assholes and potentially scamming people desperate because they're not putting the pictures up there for, $600-700. They're putting it up there for the price of the console. And again, trying to use the excuse, well, we're doing it to combat the bots who are just scanning and picking things up and grabbing them. So sure enough, console launches bring out the worst in people. And the retailers are just trying to sell a console, trying to keep their customers happy. But this is one of the things that doesn't really matter because people are going to buy the console regardless. How much discourse did we have before the Switch 2 launch saying the price is too high? Bam, sold out. You can't find a console.
We knew that it was going to sell out initially. It's the people afterwards that were going to be affected by that. Like the people like me that were like, would like to have one, but don't need to have one right away. So, I mean, the PlayStation 3 sold out right away, and look how much trouble they had after a point selling those.
Well, and again, I had a very specific reason. We kind of talked about this in the chat where I said, listen, we know there's a 90-day, at the time, there was a 90-day hold on the tariffs that President Trump was instituting. And as a result, I know I'm going to pick up the console sooner or later. I wanted to try to get it before it would cost me extra. And that was my goal. And hopefully I succeeded in that if I don't get my orders canceled.
And I think that we also need to recognize that for these companies to try to do anything to combat scalpers is a good thing because they don't have to. I mean,
Yeah, to them, a
realistically,
sale is a sale.
a sale is a sale. If it gets sold secondhand on eBay, what do they care? But for them to actually try to combat it and make sure people who actually want the console get the console, so they have to go to eBay and be desperate and spend $800. Now, granted, you don't have to do that, but people will do that because they want to get the new console. We should be at least granted. Like, I hate to tell people to be grateful for breadcrumbs, but we should probably just be glad that companies are willing to try to help out a little bit, do what they can to mitigate the problem. Because none of these companies need to, as unfortunate as that sounds.
Yeah, no, and again, a company can instill some goodwill and maybe drive more people to their shop if they're like, listen, we did what we could. This is what we are technically capable of. Hi, Dex. Welcome to the chat. And hi, Otaku Man. Hope you're doing well. So that's kind of what I want to talk about here is as we see things going on, and now there's a rumor that, a very unsubstantiated rumor that the PlayStation 6 will launch in 2026. And I'm like, okay. It's the things that come down the line for our hobby, for the things that we love. I'm a technophile. I love getting all the latest and greatest when I can. And a company making it easier for me to do that at launch, I can appreciate. Tricky doesn't care because he thinks he doesn't believe in Nintendo.
Let it be known, Matt, that you did a very nice thing. You made sure that Kalai was going to get a console. Meanwhile, that scoundrel Tricky Mick was trying to steal that console for his own. He was complaining that you weren't going to give him one of those two consoles, and the other one was set for Kalai. So let it be known the Tricky side tried to steal Kalai's console.
Well, to be fair, I didn't know it was Kalai's when I said that. And two, I just wanted it so I could resell it and make, hundreds of dollars.
Well, okay. Yeah, so Tricky, we're sitting here talking about the Scourge is the dirty scalper, and Tricky himself is a dirty scalper.
Did I scalp you? Did I make a profit on when I sold any of you guys consoles? No.
I mean, I don't know. You could have told Ashley to send you an extra $100 for this console or else. You were going to mail a rock to me in a box?
I actually paid for the shipping, and then she got so upset with me that she sent me the money for the shipping as well.
No, but would you scalp some random person on the internet for extra money? I absolutely think you would.
Absolutely.
If it's somebody you knew, no, I don't think you'd do that.
No.
But if someone on the internet, someone you didn't know, I think you would.
Absolutely, I would. Thank you, Octoman 5000. And hello,
Otaku
Dex.
Man.
Otaku Man. My nose is clogged up. My stepfather made me sick and gave me the sniffles. My nose has been clogged up all week. So.
Stop blaming your stepdad for.
Oh, it's 100% his fault.
Stop blaming him for your weakened immune system because you smoke all the time.
No, because I don't get sick.
What do you mean you don't get sick? You're sick now.
Dex says I would 100% scalp him. Yes.
But you would scalp Dex?
Absolutely.
Is that because you hate people from the other side of the world?
No, because he sends me spider pictures.
You know what, Dex, you should do is you should get him to buy you a Switch 2 and send it to you just to stop sending spider pictures. You see?
Alrighty. Well, this has been an enlightening show, but now it's the time of the show where we get to close out and tell the people what we love about them and get to give our shout out. So, Alex, I'll let you go first.
Closing chapter 670 of Trophy Horrors. I like your style, Matt. Give a shout out to the listeners, the fans, the fuel to the fire of this Trophy Horrors, our awesome community. Thank you all for interacting with us, for spreading the love of Trophy Horrors, and just for however you listen to the podcast, whether you're here live, whether you listen to it on Spotify or iHeartRadio, however you want to do it, we appreciate you for helping push us forward here towards 700 and beyond. Shout out to my co-host, Matt, again, for hosting. Grinelli taking over for full effect. And a shout out to Tricky. Glad you are fully recovered and back talking. Shout out to Yield, who could not be here. He was, I'm sure he flies back from Madagascar here in the next couple of days. Hopefully he missed some extra bucks over there. But get some new listeners. Last but not least, give a shout out to my awesome loving girl from Ashley. I love you, hon. And yeah, that is going to be it for me.
Thank you, Tricky.
I'm only going to do one shout out this week. Shout out to Goddess. Today is her birthday. So, happy birthday, Goddess.
Excellent. Happy birthday, Goddess. This is actually my boss's wife's birthday, too. So happy birthday. Shout out to you gents for recording tonight. Shout out to Yield for being in the field of Madagascar. Hopefully you had a good time and didn't get those local foreign diseases that are out there.
Hopefully you didn't get dead. Hopefully you didn't get dead.
Well, I heard that the what the hell were those things in Madagascar?
The penguins.
Who was king? No, the penguins.
The giant vanilla beans.
Who was king? Who was was King Louis? I forget. This whole thing went
from the
sideways.
Jungle Book?
No, from Madagascar, the movie.
Oh, well, King Louis from Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book.
Yeah, no, there was a king there.
Did you all ever see like the live action version of The Jungle Book in recent years?
No.
King Julian the 13th.
King Louis was fucking giant. I mean, he was massive. Good God.
It was King Julian, Matt.
King Julian. Okay. Wasn't King Louis voiced by Bill Murray? I don't know. Anyway, shout out to the Channel 3 community. Go to channel3.gg to gamify your social media. And shout out to Will for his art that he makes for us, because it's so good to have that for our little TikTok feeds and other reels and things like that. And finally, shout out to my wife V. Thank you for everything you do. And with that, happy hunting,
Matt,
folks.
hold on. Short correction here.
Yeah.
Bill Murray was Baloo, and Christopher Walken was King Louis.
Yeah, I was about to say Christopher Walken was King Louis.
Thank you for fact checking me live on air. So
we get the facts right here.
We do, except when Tricky says.
Except when Tricky has to pronounce a name.
Except when Tricky says Breath of the Wild is not a Zelda game. Happy hunting, folks.
Later.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines